Here with UNR's Technology LLC. Today we're going to talk about exception handling. How to handle exception. An exception is kind of uh, an error that happens when you're trying to run the code and then it's breaking your code. And mostly it gives you also a message on what's wrong in your code, even though a code when you write a code it appear not having any mistake, like right here we're not seeing any red lines in here, but if we run this code we're gonna see an exception. Let's run it and then see. So right now you can see it's giving us a exception in the main thread, new pointer exception, and it's telling the type of exception we're having, and it's saying uh, null is because null is null, and where it's happening in the class, and also it gives us the information about where the exception is happening, in which line in the file, which file and then which line. The file is the class is a first lesson class, which is exactly this one, and Java 9 is happening in this line. If we click on this one, and it's gonna highlight this, as you can see right here. So there is an exception happening. So when an exception happen, like in line 9, everything that follow this line after it doesn't execute, because uh, it's gonna break the program. It's gonna prevent it to do more execution after the exception happened. So what we normally do, hey, we're not sure if it's gonna, when you're not sure if it's not gonna work or not, we use try and catch block to prevent this to happen. So what we have to do is, like to do, we're gonna write try, and we wrap everything inside try, like everything we have written, and then we write also catch, we open parentheses, we write exception, and we open accolades, so it's no parentheses, accolade, and we're like we want to know what actually is breaking the code, so we want to print out the screen. So we're gonna get this variable or parameter on the top exception, and we do that get message. So it's gonna tell us what's happening. So what's gonna happen is the the code is gonna run if the exception happen, and then it's gonna be a grab the exception there, tell us what's happening, and keep working, do the rest of the code. So try catch help us to handle to be to prevent our code to break whenever the exception is happening. Let's run it and then see the outcome. You can see the first time we run it was just white stuff, nothing. So none of this uh, happened. We couldn't print out in the screen too, because uh, as soon as we reach line 9, when it was line 9 right here also, now it's right line 10, because we had tried the program was break, broken definitely. So let's run it again and see what's gonna happen now. Look right now, we're not having any red anymore, and then we're seeing 2 on the screen. It means what? Even though the exception happened, we're catching it. We try this and then we catch it, and we're saying, oh, tell us what's wrong in here, because we're doing get message, and we're printing up in the screen. That's what we're doing here. And then now it's like, okay, we're not breaking the code. We know actually something is wrong here, and then we tell you what's going on and do the rest of the thing. So it's like get to printing also in the screen. That's what we have to here. So try and catch help us to manage exceptions. So there are many type of the exceptions. So you can manage exception based on since this one is a nil pointer exception, we can also have a nil pointer exception uh, here written here. Exception is like just the exception class like this is kind of global. It's like it doesn't care what type of exception you try to manage, but you to be specific, it's encouraged to use the appropriate one. So like right now, this one is a no pointer exception. That's why when we do it, it's gonna work. And there is also some other exception like a arithmetic exception. And if we use it here, it won't work because it doesn't match the type of exception well we using because the what's happening here is a new pointer exception. If we put an arithmetic uh, exception here, this one won't execute, and then the program is still is gonna be broken. So let's run it and then see. That's what is happening exactly. So be careful on managing using your try catch to handle exception. So there are many type of exception. We have runtime exception, out of bound exception, uh, index out of bound exception, nil pointer exception, number of formats, and many others. Check on the documentation online, and then you will not know much about it. Thanks for now, and have a blessed day. Bye.